So it says recording.
Yeah,
So it's going.
Yeah.
All right. So English and Comparative Literature is a department at the American University in Cairo that attempts to bridge the gaps between literature. And we assume that students know English, but they may come to us with another language. Arabic is usually the other language, which is very important now to the major. But in addition to that, students may come with French, German, Italian, Spanish, and all those languages could be important to the program. Our courses were organized historically, but even at the introductory level, we use courses that are translated from other languages, and that allows students to understand literature not only in terms of English, but in terms of the other languages with which English is often interactive. Comparative literature in the United States and Europe used to be restricted to the study of English, French, and German. And within the last 2 or 3 decades, the field has opened up very, very considerably. So now students who go into comparative literature are encouraged to study non-European languages and to think about doing comparative research that might embrace, let's say, English and Arabic, or English and Chinese, or English in any number of languages other than the European languages. So now if your orientation is not to study, let's say, European languages in addition to English, you don't have that much of a problem. If you're interested in Mahfouz, you might want to read him through English writers or perhaps even French writers. If you're interested in Idris, if you're interested in any of the great Egyptian writers, comparative literature is the department for you. English and comparative literature is the department for you. Now, the skills we cultivate are writing and interpretation. And although we don't teach languages in the department, we try to encourage students to become involved in reading texts, or at least originally written in other languages. We don't do our coursework in the other languages, but we like students who are interested in the other languages and are interested in the other literatures so that they can think comparatively. Comparative literature has many possibilities that will open up for those who wish to write, those who wish to become critics, those who are interested in practical fields that involve writing of any sort. English is a language that's sort of privileged today in the world, maybe for better or for worse, but you know, it's the international business language. But Arabic is also an international language, and English and Arabic therefore go together on a very practical level, which isn't necessarily the focus of the program, of course, but is important to those who, in fact, major in English and comparative literature. I feel that our Introduction to Literature course is now an Introduction to Comparative Literature. It's not called that. A student who does the major has to take a survey course of English literature, but our department is not primarily focused on English. It's important to understand that English literature is part of the program, but not necessarily the center of the program. So when we call ourselves an English department, we're not really doing English literature primarily. Another point I'd like to make here, writing is important, but it's assumed that you've taken these basic writing courses and you've mastered the skills that are essential and that enable you to write good papers. So we don't teach writing per se. However, I would like to emphasize this. English and comparative literature also has a creative writing component. Therefore, if you're interested in writing poetry or writing a novel or writing a play, the major might be interesting to you because you would be permitted to take courses in creative writing that would be part of our major. And that's something new too. In other words, it used to be the creative writing and English and comparative literature were separate, but now we include creative writing. So in addition to that, you know, you would, as a major, you would be taking courses in literature, you would be studying literature, but at the same time, you might have more of a